Hello, 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 Arizona! Wow, what support we have for our President of the great United States, Donald J. Trump. It's so good to see you all here. And I am Dr. Kelly Ward. I am the chairwoman of your Republican Party. That's right. It's an honor to work for you and with you, and we are still hard at work. I can see you're not asleep at the wheel, and neither are we. I tell you, Arizona is in play, folks. We are in play. And when I was watching the election night returns, and I saw Fox News inappropriately call Arizona for a radical leftist socialist team, I can tell you I started tweeting out right away to retract, because Arizona is more than set to be able to win. Okay. How about this? It's not about Fox. It's about counting our votes. Count our votes. Count our votes. Yes. Count our votes. And that's exactly what we're doing. When the race was inappropriately called by the media, the fake news media, Trump was just behind by 200,000 votes. There were hundreds and thousands.
Hey there, everyone. Will Dupree here in the KXAN live studio. We are listening to Kelly Ward, who is the chair of the Republican Party of Arizona. She is saying that they want people to count the votes in Arizona. She's criticizing Fox News for calling the race for Joe Biden. We will also say the Associated Press has also called the race for Joe Biden. Some other news outlets have not done that just yet, but votes are still being counted in Arizona. I will note that we'll go back to the speech here in just a moment. We are expecting to hear from former Vice President Joe Biden, the Democratic candidate for president, here in just a few moments. He's going to be speaking from Delaware after receiving a briefing on the economy and the coronavirus pandemic. We will bring you those remarks here just shortly, but let's go back again to Phoenix, where some of the Republican Party of Arizona officials are speaking there.
John Shadegg, Boris Epstein right here. So don't go away, because we are winning this. Stay vigilant, stay awake. Do not let this election be stolen. I won't. I know you won't. Here's Dave.
Thank you all very much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kelly. This is an exciting day. We are so proud of each and every one of you. My name is David Bossie, and I'm a senior advisor to the Trump campaign, and I'm happy to make, I'm going to make a few, thank you very much, I'm going to be happy to make a few remarks, and then we're all happy to take questions when we're done. First, I just want to say that Arizona's 11 electoral college votes are going to be in Donald Trump's column when we get done with this. Every legal ballot must be counted. We are here to protect every legal vote. If the current trends continue, as we have seen, because we follow the science, President Trump is going to overtake Joe Biden, and we are going to win Arizona. Look, the news organizations that prematurely called Arizona have really done a disservice to the American people. And so, look, that's water under the bridge. What we're going to do is prove them wrong. Okay? That's what we're here to do. We're going to make sure that every single vote counts, and we're going to prove to the American people that Arizona is Trump country. And my next question is, what does the margin need to be in order for them to retract this horrible, horrible call? That's a very important question. We must have the media. Look, after tonight, the margin is going to be much smaller. And so when they prematurely called it, it was a bigger number. But it was only 70-some-odd% in. It was an irresponsible thing to have done, and we're here to protect the vote of the Arizona people. And I got to tell you, I see that. What is going on? It's the fake news media. So look, there was only about 73% in when they called this race. So we're here to make sure every vote is counted. We're here to make sure that Arizona is delivered for President Trump for his reelection, and it is going to be. So I thank each and every one of you for being here, and I'm happy to take questions. Go ahead. I didn't know of any such thing that happened. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I asked him, yes. Yeah, that's a great question. He asked, did the mainstream media calling some of these states early have impact on what happened in the rest of the country? And I think the answer is very simply yes. Because if you look at what the mainstream media did with the state of Florida, we won the state of Florida in 2016. President Trump did by about 110, 115,000 votes. He was up 400,000 votes, and they called California before they called Florida. They didn't call the state of Ohio. Look, this is not a mistake, folks. They have been against this president. They've been against your president from the very first minute 4 years ago. So we are tired of it. We're going to fight to the very end, and that's why Donald Trump's going to get reelected, because every single one of you is here to fight for him. Thank you. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Well, all of the litigation strategies completely are currently being thought about and contemplated. There's been no decisions on anything as of yet, but absolutely, all options are on the table to protect single legal vote that has been made in Arizona, because all said and done, President Trump is going to get
Oh, but we expect him to win now, the count. No, not need a lot.
Go ahead.
There's a great number of media organizations that have not called it. I see your guys' path that you're going forward. And I think that's why a lot of news organizations are waiting to call this race. At the same time, is there anything that you have actually seen in terms of evidence that concerns you that could lead to a lawsuit?
The answer to your question is yes. However, this is way discussed because we're not there yet. Okay, we're not there yet. But President Trump is going to win when all the votes are counted. We're not going to have to worry about that.
I have some concerns about the election department and about Adrian Fontes himself. He has disregarded legal advice from outside and within his own organization, and we have had our poll observers, Republican poll observers, be disenfranchised. They've been put into a corner. They have to sit in their seat to verify the signatures. They were not able to see the screens that were in front of them. They were able to look at the back of the computer screens. They were allowed to have binoculars, but they could only see the name brand of the computer, not the actual signatures of the voters, and that's just one instance. So I believe that one of the reasons we're standing here is that we want to assure the integrity of elections in Arizona, and the Republican Party of Arizona and everyone here will do just that.
Yeah, talking about Arizona, sir, and yeah, there's a team in Michigan doing exactly what we're doing here. So I can assure you the people of Michigan are being well served by the Trump team. Okay? Yeah, of course, please.
Yeah, listen, folks, Arizona, the bottom line is President Trump is going to win Arizona. I believe it. The trend is going that way. I spoke to the president yesterday morning, and I told him I believe that Arizona is going to go for President Donald J. Trump, and then he's going to other states, and he's going to win America.
What she said, absolutely. Okay. Good. I can't stop that. Yes, ma'am. You just asked that question and I answered it. I didn't have. Go ahead, ma'am. Yeah, our legal team is clearly looking at those types of questions. It's been very well documented that those are some concerns by thousands of people in the state of Arizona. So they're not unfounded to the people that it affected. So there's a process for those people and for our campaign to go through, and that's what we're team is currently looking at, obviously. Yeah, thank you all very much. Happy to take any more questions after we're done here. Is that good with you, Kelly? Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. We're willing to take some more questions, everybody here, from you all, but the press conference is officially over, and the count is still going on, and Arizona's going to win for President Trump.
So we're just wrapping up this news conference now with officials from the Republican Party of Arizona, as well as Trump campaign officials and surrogates speaking there. They are expressing confidence about the vote that is happening and the count, rather, that is happening in Arizona, saying that it will ultimately swing back towards President Trump and he will become victorious in that state. However, we will point out that both the Associated Press and Fox News have called the race for Joe Biden. Other news outlets have not done that very same thing because there is still a count happening. And as you heard just a few moments ago, the officials there are telling people to count the vote. Again, that's coming from the Republicans there in Arizona. I do want to hop over, though, because I'm listening in my ear as some of these supporters of President Trump are gathered shouting 4 more years, obviously holding signs and showing their support for the president. However, let me bring up this one shot. So we are expecting comments shortly. This is from a theater in Wilmington, Delaware, where Joe Biden, the Democratic presidential nominee, is supposed to speak in just a few minutes. His speech was supposed to get started at about 3:15 or so running about 5 minutes behind there. But you can stay with us for just a little while longer because we will be bringing that speech to you live here on KXAN Live. While we're waiting for Joe Biden to speak, I want to show you all what the Associated Press map looks like so that we can get the latest numbers. Not much has changed since earlier today. The Associated Press has the electoral vote count at 264 for Joe Biden and 214 for President Trump. I believe Joe Biden is speaking now. Let's take a listen.
Severity of this pandemic. Cases are on the rise nationwide, and we're nearing 240,000 deaths due to COVID. And our hearts go out to each and every family that has lost a loved one to this terrible disease. In America, the vote is sacred. It's how people of this nation express their will. And It is the will of the voters, no one, not anything else, that chooses the President of the United States of America. So, each ballot must be counted, and that's what we're going to see going through now, and that's how it should be. Democracy is sometimes messy. It sometimes requires a little patience as well. But that patience has been rewarded now for more than 240 years with a system of governance that's been the envy of the world. And we continue to feel, Senator and I, we continue to feel very good about where things stand. We have no doubt that when the count is finished, Senator Harris and I will be declared the winners. So I ask everyone to stay calm, all the people to stay calm. The process is working. The count is being completed, and we'll know very soon. So thank you all for your patience, but we have to count the votes. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you so much.
There you just heard from the Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden, and standing by his side there was the vice presidential candidate, Senator Kamala Harris. They were just saying they received a briefing on the coronavirus pandemic, expressing some condolences for more than 200,000 people that have died from that disease caused by the novel coronavirus. They also touched on the count that is still underway to determine the winner of the U.S. presidential election. That is still undecided at this point because ballots are indeed still being counted. Joe Biden was saying just a moment ago that each ballot must be counted and the will of the voters that will choose the president, not anything else. He also said that democracy is messy and requires patience sometimes. However, he feels very good, those were his words, about where things stand with the race at this point. He reiterated something that he said yesterday during other remarks, that he believes that once the count is done, that he and Kamala Harris will become the next president and vice president of the United States. He asked for people to stay calm and said that the process is working, and we will know very soon what the count officially will be. Just before Joe Biden spoke, we were showing you remarks from Arizona, where the vote count is still underway at this point. The race is very close there. Some of the Republican officials and other Trump campaign associates are speaking and saying they are confident that the result in Arizona will go to them right now. Joe Biden is ahead in the vote count. However, there are several thousand mail-in ballots that still need to be counted, and it's taking that process to be able to do so right now to pick that official winner and call that race. One more time, I want to show you all the electoral map from the Associated Press. We were showing that just a few moments before Joe Biden spoke. Let's go once again here. So Joe Biden spoke in Wilmington, Delaware, after receiving an update on the coronavirus pandemic, and obviously commented about the ongoing count for the U.S. presidential election. According to this Associated Press map, Joe Biden is very close to getting the 270 electoral college votes to win the U.S. presidency, while Donald Trump right now has 214 electoral votes. Nevada, we've been tracking results there all day, watching numbers slowly trickle in. I don't know if you've been on social media lately, but lots of funny memes talking about how slow that process has been. Let's go there and just kind of see where things stand at this point. You can see that Joe Biden is leading in Nevada by what looks like about 10,000 votes or so in that particular state. Let's go back to the map and then show you Arizona. So again, the Associated Press has called this race for Joe Biden, but some Republicans are expressing disdain about that particular call from the Associated Press and from Fox News, saying it's too early because many more votes need to be counted. But as you can see, Joe Biden is leading there by about 70,000 votes at this time. Some of the other undecided races that have yet to be called over here on the East Coast include Georgia, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. Let's go to Georgia right now. We've seen Joe Biden's support tick up throughout the day as more results have been announced, and it's really eaten away at the large margin that Donald Trump had previously. So there you can see the vote count in Georgia right now. What election officials there are saying earlier today was that about 60,000 absentee mail-in votes still needed to be counted, some from the most populous areas around Atlanta right here and around Savannah, Georgia, right there along the coast. So this number is likely to change and potentially get even tighter because those largest concentrations of votes are coming from these more Democratic-leaning areas of that state. So we'll keep tracking that vote there in Georgia, so you'll please have to stay with us and other news outlets because we'll be looking into that vote. In Pennsylvania, we're seeing that Donald Trump maintains that lead in the state, 3.2 million votes compared to 3.14 million votes for Joe Biden. But we are looking for more votes to be counted here. Only 88% of the expected vote is in at this time. So very close races to watch there in different parts of the country. And they are what will decide who will become the next president and vice president of our country. I'm going to leave up this map so you all can take a look at it for just a little bit longer, and then we're going to end our stream. Once again, Will Dupree here in the KXAN Live studio. Thank you all for joining our stream of those Republican remarks in Arizona as well as Joe Biden's remarks from Delaware. If there are any additional updates, we will hop right back on here to share them with you. In the meantime, you can check out results and other resources about this election, this ongoing election, on our website. That's KXAN.com and on the KXAN News app. Thanks again for watching, everybody. Please stay safe and stay healthy. The pandemic is still wreaking havoc here in the country. More people are getting sick, so please be careful. Take care. We'll see you here another time.